That's right. For this week's main topic, well, we all know Halloween at Disney is one of our favorite times of year. Just think about the amazing decorations, the pumpkins, and then the ambiance of the spooky music. Maybe you get to go to one of those Halloween parties, whether it be not so scary or Oogie Boogie Bash, depending on what coast you're on. But maybe, you're going to Disney parks and you're thinking, oh, I really don't want to spend that money. I already got tickets. I already have an annual pass, whatever. Maybe I don't want to spend that extra money. Or maybe your date is already sold out. Well, we have good news for you because we're going to talk about how you can have a day of Halloween fun and not need those party tickets, some other things that you can enjoy and do to enjoy the Halloween season out at the Disney parks. And don't worry, we're not going to give you a checklist of every single thing, Halloween treat, Halloween decoration that you need to find, you need to do. We're going to kind of go over the basics of some of the ideas, some tips, maybe a little bit change of your perspective. So when you get out there, how you can have a great Disney Halloween day, Michelle.
Yes, that's right, honey. And I think in order to kind of kick off that day, you might want to actually stop and have a special Halloween treat at one of the resorts. Now, if you're at Walt Disney World, you can take the monorail. You're probably taking it from Ticket and Transportation anyways. Maybe stop off at the Poly and try out. And if you're watching on YouTube, we have some photos here of the vampire stitch cake that's at Kona
That is
Island.
adorable.
I know, isn't it? Now that's the quick service that's located on the second floor, the Grand Ceremonial Hall. So as soon as you get off the monorail and going into the Poly, you'll see the cafe there. They have that adorable cake. And what's really great at that resort cafe is they open early. Like usually they're opening at 6:30 in the morning. They have coffee there, etc. And so if you're really hoping to do a rope drop, you're all set there. But let's say you got a little later start. Maybe you might want to, while you're there, try some of the Mickey Pumpkin Soft Serve. We talked about that at our last
Yeah,
episode.
you got to experience that.
Yeah, two thumbs
maybe
up.
a nice break in the middle of the day, getting away from the parks, going and doing something a little different. Go hop on the monorail, go do that. Stop over at the Poly, then head back to Magic Kingdom for a little fun.
That's a good idea. Wow, look at you being so creative.
Ooh, super creative.
But anyways, that's a fun way to start your day. Now, if you're on the West Coast, the Disneyland Resort hotels also have wonderful Halloween treats, like what we have here showing is the Halloween gingerbread skeleton cookie, which is so adorable. We love their gingerbread.
Their gingerbread is great. And basically, it is their gingerbread, just with some different icing on it.
Right. Exactly. But maybe you want to start off your day a little bit more elaborate, and you can go to Goofy's Kitchen at Disneyland Hotel and meet Goofy and his friends. And as they say, wickedly delicious, all you can eat Halloween meal packed with eerie eats and festive frights. But again, a nice, fun way to start the Halloween mood going for your day at the parks.
Yeah, and Goofy, he's a ghost hunter. He's one of the original Ghostbusters. If you've seen the short Lonesome Ghosts, Mickey, Donald, they did their own ghost hunting for sure, their own ghost busting. So Goofy knows all about it. You can approach him, maybe get some tips on finding those spooks around the parks.
Good idea. Yeah. Good idea. And I'm sure you're right. Yeah. Okay, so now you got a little bit fuel going in you with the festive treats, and it's time to soak up those Halloween vibes over at the parks. Now, our tip would be go to the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World on the day that they have the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween event. Now, you might think, wow, but the park closes really early on that day, but really the crowds are much smaller during those days. So wait times at the attractions is really significantly reduced. And we'll have another reason later on. But anyways, here you can start feeling and creating the mood and getting into some of those decorations that are over at the parks. And it's really, again, it's a fun way to feel immersed into that Halloween season. we always say look up. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I mean, really stop and take notice of these things. And I think that's one of the keys to feeling the holiday season, whether you're talking Halloween or another season, is just as you're going through, really take note of the decor, because it is what's going to help set that mood and make you feel that Halloween experience. And actually, you get to appreciate them more than if you did go to one of the parties, because usually at the party you're rushed to go do something. You're rushed to either go to a trick or treat area or a photo op, or see a particular show of the what are the Dapper Dans called at the party?
The cadaver dance.
Cadaver dance. Thank you. So sometimes you might just, swish past these and really not notice. And this is your opportunity. I love that they have some new ones. Like there's a Dumbo one over at the Dumbo attraction, and even the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train has some new ones in there. On the West Coast, they have loads of Halloween decorations at both parks. Especially love the Headless Horseman, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, over at Disney's California Adventure Park. And then we don't even go into Cars Land, decked out for Halloween. I mean, like, you got to go there and check out Cars Land decked out for Halloween, because those cars know how to decorate their area. They know how to get Route 66 looking extra spooky wonderfully.
Exactly. And in all honesty, over at Disneyland Resort, whether you're talking Disneyland Park or Disney California Adventure Park, yes, they have characters out there that are in their Halloween costumes, which you don't really get to experience at the Magic Kingdom over at Walt Disney World outside of the parties. But again, we're going to focus on what things can help you feel the Halloween season.
Right. I want to go back to what you started this segment off with, and that going on to Magic Kingdom on a day where there is a party. And yes, you may think, and a lot of people do, I spent this much money for my ticket and my day is going to be abbreviated. I'm not going to get fireworks. I'm not going to get this and that, because I'm there. And that is true. If you're focusing on getting the nighttime parade, getting fireworks, all that stuff into your day, then you may be a little disappointed or not want to take part in that. However, I will also tell you that if that isn't the only reason you're going to Magic Kingdom, but you want to hit up a lot of the attractions, a lot of the experiences there, that you're bang for your buck during that time period when the park is actually open, because there are so many people that decide, I'm not going to go for a 2/3 day to the park. Instead, I want to make sure I go for a full day. It could be of value to you. Now, again, value is what value is. It depends on what you like. If you're going to want to see the fireworks, then you're probably not going to want to go that day. But if you want to take advantage of getting on a lot of attractions and other experiences with maybe a little bit lesser weight, you may want to think about using your Magic Kingdom day on a party day, whether you're going to the party or not.
Right. And hold that thought about the fireworks. Okay. May have something more about that.
All right. For sure. So, we talk about Disneyland and we talk about the decorations at Disneyland. And a little tip we're going to give you, we've talked about it in the past. One, when you get the opportunity to go down Main Street USA, especially at Disneyland, you don't get the time to ride the vehicle as much at Magic Kingdom, but when you do a lot at Disneyland. And when you get a chance to take them, but especially get on that second level, the upper level of the double-decker bus going down Main Street USA, because it gives you a completely different perspective of the decorations that are lining that street. And I've talked about it before on the show multiple times. There was a time where we took the double-decker bus up Main Street USA and back down Main Street USA. And I just sat there on that and I counted how many jack-o'-lanterns were up there on the roofs as you were going through. And I counted, I don't remember the exact number, but it was over 200. And they're almost all different. They're almost all at least a little bit unique. And it's incredible how much they go all out to decorate for the season, for the spooky season.
Absolutely. And as you're walking down Main Street, yes, you can look up and kind of see that. But as you said, when you're on that double-decker bus, it really gives you a whole new perspective of the decorations. Good point.
For sure.
Good point. All right. Well, let's talk about photo ops, because again, that helps with the Halloween feeling. And yes, there are some that are specifically for the parties, but you know what? If you're watching on YouTube, we have some examples here. Now, these came from the Disney Photo Pass photographers Facebook page of some of the seasonal photo ops that they have right now, and they're pretty great. That whether it's Halloween themed balloons or actually seeing some pumpkins there. And those are some of the magic shots. Obviously, at the entrance and at the hub, they have actual pictures. You can get actual pictures with the decor there. At the Haunted Mansion, they have some magic shots that they do all the time. These are great, and they make great souvenirs to have when you can reflect back on that day. I also want to point out they have that magic shot, the zoom shot at the hub at Magic Kingdom, and the one that they have right now is spooky themed. It has fun music in the background and like a crystal ball. It's definitely worth checking out. Now,
And of course, if you look at our background here, I'm going to seasonal photo opportunity for you as well. So
exactly,
that's one you're going to want to get a photo next to when you're there.
Right.
I mean, when you're at Disneyland and a little bit at Magic Kingdom as well, they also have those giant Disney character jack-o'-lanterns that are right there on the gates as you scan in.
Yes.
You don't even need to go to the park.
I
You can
know.
go to the Esplanade there right by the end of downtown Disney and just get some amazing photos in front of them before you would actually go into the park.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good point. One tip that we would give is, get some of these photo ops both in the daylight and as it's getting darker. Then you have that different feel to those photos. Now, as we mentioned early on, our tip of going on the day of the parties might have another benefit for you. And this is not something to be expected at all, but sometimes as it's getting closer to closing time for regular ticket holders and before the party, those PhotoPass photographers might have already loaded some of their magic shots into their cameras in time for the party. And if Tink is around and maybe feeling particularly generous with her pixie dust, she might allow some of those PhotoPass photographers to use some of that special magic on day guests. Again, don't expect it, but sometimes it could be available.
And be respectful of cast members that are like, it's party time or we're starting to kick off party time. This is only for party guests. That happens.
Right,
It's
right,
that
exactly.
time. But yeah, if you kind of get that crossover period, sometimes you can get a nice little, like Michelle mentioned, extra spooky season pixie dust.
Right. So, I mean, in a kind way, maybe ask them if they have some special magic shots and see where it goes. But again, don't be disappointed if they have to follow, what the expectation is that the party goers get special magic shots.
Of course.
Anyways. All right. Why don't we move on to food?
Why don't we move on to food? I'm always going to be moving on to food.
Now, again, there's special dishes for the parties, but there is a plethora of Halloween themed dishes throughout the parks in both coasts. And they're going to be too numerous for us to even mention here, and would just get us hungry.
Too late. I'm already hungry. I'm just looking at some of these.
I know. But thought we'd, share a sampling of some eye-catching special treats and beverages that you can find. Our tip here would be to check out the foodie guide at the Disney Parks blog, because they really cover the special treats at both parks, Magic Kingdom and Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park. And you can maybe maybe before you even head out to the parks, create your own menu. What's a list of things that you must try? But it's great that they have these things throughout various, the quick service places. But if you're looking for maybe a table service experience with Halloween food, well, you're in luck. Now, over at Orlando, there are two park restaurants that have Halloween themed dining. And the one that we're showing here is from the Plaza restaurant. And they have, for example, a pumpkin spice coffee barbecue pork sandwich.
Yum.
I know. Skull meatloaf with Caribbean style
Hey, does
glazed
it look like a
meatloaf.
skull? I gotta zoom in on that picture and see. Does it look like a skull?
I think maybe
Sort of.
yeah, I
It looks
think
like a very
maybe
burnt skull.
yeah, I think the fact that it's Caribbean
Yeah.
style. But they have a ghostly delight Sunday, and goblins and ghouls drink, which is Captain Morgan original spiced rum, as well as some other liqueurs, cider, etc. So a real all around Halloween experience there. Uh, and then over at Disney Hollywood and Vine, and they also have a buffet that's seasonal. It changes seasonal. And at this time of the year, Minnie and her friends are giving you what they say a spectacular Halloween feast that's frightfully delightful.
Ooh.
So you not only get to experience some fun food there, but your favorite characters decked out in their Halloween outfits. And so one of the things, obviously, for table services, it's obviously beneficial to have the reservations in advance. I checked on some spot days and they were available, had some availability. If you can't get them, you can try, keep trying even on the same day, maybe get a walk up a walk up reservation, but do keep trying.
Yeah. And, character dining is always going to be a little bit more expensive. So, that maybe doesn't fall into our goal of trying to also save you money while doing some of this as well.
Right.
However, value is what value is. If you want to make sure you get some characters in your Halloween fun, in their spooky season gear, you're going to get plenty of that there. And you're for sure to get many, many shots with the little ones, with these beloved characters, or the not so little ones, if that's what you prefer. It's bang for your buck in character time and photo time for sure. So again, value is what value is.
Right. And one of the things when you're talking about little ones and even adults with young at heart, you can't wear costumes I think it's 14 and over.
Unless you're going to a party.
Unless you're going to a party. So on these days, even though there is a party in the evening, you really cannot wear a costume, but you definitely can bound.
Mhm.
And I think even the things that we wore when we went to the party would probably still fall under bounding. They weren't necessarily costumes.
Right.
So
I
you
mean,
could really,
I think the only thing, maybe putting the tail on me, was
right.
the only thing that got into costume. Everything else was basically bounding for
Right.
me and for you. I mean, even wearing the ears, because you can wear ears in the parks. We know that.
Exactly.
Your Mickey ears are sold everywhere. They don't necessarily have to be Mickey ears that
Right.
you wear in the park. Mickey Minnie ears. They could be anything. So yeah.
Yeah.
you're still
So
pretty
be
much bounded.
creative with
Yeah.
that. Your little ones can obviously dress up more, just have the issue of where they can't have a mask that covers their entire face.
And we also have a very good friend, Pat from the Conversations podcast, who takes bounding to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to the next level where it's borderline on whether it's a costume or it's bounding. So, there is some give that you can find there. You just, understand if they tell you, that may be a little bit much and you need to find a locker or put him someplace else or go back to your resort and stash it and come back.
Exactly.
But bounding is definitely allowed always.
Right. One of the other things, since we're talking about time in the resorts, is that over at Disneyland, they actually, if you want to splurge, and again, maybe you wanted to get a ticket to one of the Halloween events, but you couldn't. Maybe you might want to splurge on one of their tours. It's the Happiest Haunt, the Villains Trail guided tour. I looked yesterday, and there were still multiple tours available if you wanted to do that. Now, what's really nice as an added bonus to this is you get preferred viewing area for Hallow Screams, which is their nighttime spectacular over there. So that's something that you may not be aware of or think that there is even some possibility of doing it. And yes, it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And reserve spot for nighttime spectacular viewing. Now, I was about to say fireworks, but that's not necessarily the case
Right.
at Disneyland. It could be projections and
Right.
music and lasers and stuff, but sometimes there's fireworks, sometimes there's not. So don't necessarily depend on that being the
Right.
case in California. But yeah, a reserved spot is always helpful. And you mentioned scary experiences and tours. Well, if you really want to be frightened a little bit, go back to way back to the beginning of our show. I think it was episode 4, where we interviewed a former Disneyland VIP hostess. Her name's Nicole. And she talked a little bit about that Halloween themed tour, or at least the Halloween themed tour that she used to host at that time. And she was excellent. She's fantastic. She's amazing. She's everything you would expect from a Disneyland VIP hostess. The scary part is us. Want to listen to us? Well, not that we're that much better now, but we were 4 episodes in. Ooh, it's a little rough. Again, we're still rough to this day, but if you really want to hear, frightening, something frightening, that might be it for you. But it's also a great interview, so you should listen to that at some point.
That's true. That's a good point. That it was a good interview, and that yes,
all those early
yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
And again, I'll say we're still bad, but all those early episodes, the first year, first 4 years, 5 years, whatever. Shudder.
Exactly. All right. Now let's say that you've spent time in the park, and as we've said again and again, if you're going in the park and it's a shortened day, you may want to continue that fun. And another way to do that is going to the resorts. And we talked about, yes, they have some treats that you can have it, and we only covered the example of the Poly, but other resorts do have Halloween themed treats. But there are some other things that you might want to consider doing that have you in that immersive vibe, and checking out, for example, the lobbies, how they're decorated, their pumpkin carvings or Halloween displays. Now, Disneyland Resort offers some free Halloween activities during September and October for the guests staying at one of the resorts. They even do trick-or-treating throughout those months. So just stop by the front desk or guest services to get all the deets from there. What Disneyland Park day visitors can do, though, is just explore the ambiance and the fun and treats, or some spooky beverages that they have. They also have a seasonal dinner at Storytellers Cafe, which is Clarabelle's Enchanted Halloween dinner. So that's something that you might want to consider. Over at the Walt Disney World resorts, all the resorts have the movies under the stars. And I looked at the schedules for the months of September and October, and all of them have at least one day of the week devoted to a Halloween themed movie. And you can find those on various websites. So you don't have to be staying at the resort to participate in, whether it's the marshmallow roasting, and then you get some free marshmallows, or watching the movies.
Yeah, that's a really great point. That's the resort time. I will say this all the time for any time of year. I mean, if you're looking for some ways to save on some money, do something outside of the parks, and you don't even need to be staying on Disney property to go enjoy Disney resorts. I mean, yes, you may not be able to park on those resort properties unless you have a dining reservation, but you can always park at Disney Springs and take transportation there to any of the resorts you like, or multiple resorts. If you want to hop from different places to different places, you can definitely do that. So you can, go and park yourself at Disney Springs. And we're going to talk about Disney Springs in a little bit here, things you can do there. But then if you want to also get some of this wonderful resort time fun, just hop on a bus there and go to whichever resort you're looking to experience that spooky season fun.
Right, exactly. Now, if you took our tip of going on the day of the event, or even if not, we would say one of our biggest tips would be heading over to Fort Wilderness. And from the Magic Kingdom, it's simply a boat ride away. And let me tell you, that resort really embraces the Halloween season.
They embrace every season.
Yes.
But Halloween is one of them for sure that they really get into. No, 100%, no question.
Yeah. Now, what you could even do is start your time there over at Trails End Restaurant. And they even have mobile ordering available. So on your ride across Bay Lake, you may want to go on the app there and order some of their new treats. They have the Headless Horseman Pop, which is a chocolate chip cookie dough and brownie dipped in white chocolate with chocolate piece.
Yum.
Yeah, I know. It's adorable. And then they also have the pumpkin sugar cookie, which is a Halloween sugar cookie coated in dark and white chocolate. Just again, another way to kind of start your treat over there at Fort Wilderness.
Yeah, and Fort Wilderness, we can't say enough about Fort Wilderness. We love Fort Wilderness. Like it used to before we were DVC, and now that it's DVC again, we try and stay there quite often. But before, it was like our go-to spot to stay because we love the cabins, for one, the space, the openness of it, and just how you kind of feel like you're in nature, yet still very Disney in there. But then when you talk about, this season, the holiday season, any time of year, this place goes all out on what you can do to enjoy it. Now, of course, as you mentioned, for some of the other resorts, yes, they have the movies under the stars there. They have basically a theater built there specifically for movies under the stars. So that's going on all the time at Fort Wilderness. Yes. They have this campfire sing-along there. That's set up for you to happen every single night with a little Chip and Dale, which who doesn't love Chip and Dale? So you're going to get a little of that as well. And then you get to the guests and what they do to deck out their campsites as far as decorations, fun. They deck out their various different golf carts, with lights and different things on them. And sometimes you'll even get a little sudden parade of golf carts that are decorated to get a little bit of that spooky season fun. And we'd show you some here, but unfortunately all our pictures of that is for the holiday season because we love being out there for the holiday season, the Christmas time season and so forth, because that they go all out for that too. But don't think they don't do the same thing for Halloween time. And if you want to go experience those, it's really, really easy to do. And as I mentioned, you can, if you don't want to go make a dining reservation there, you can always park at Disney Springs, take a ride over there on the bus, and then hop on another bus to get there. And then you can just stop off at any of the different loops where they're either having campgrounds going on or where the cabins are or whatever. Mostly the campgrounds. That's where they really decorate throughout. The cabins do, but really the campsites where the RVs are specifically, some of the other ones as well. They put all sorts of creative things around there for you to enjoy. And you can kind of walk around there. And I would imagine, we've never done this, but it would not shock me if they had a little trick or treating that you could do around there. If you were to go take the little ones and go around and see if anybody has some candy at their campsites, it wouldn't shock me. Now, don't bet on it and don't hold anybody accountable if they don't have candy to give away. But I bet you that happens quite often out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these folks are very proud of what their displays are. They love people walking around and seeing it, especially in the evenings time where you can start appreciate some of the lightings that they have on their cabin, their campsites, the campsites, the RVs, or even the tent campers have a lot of decoration. So they're very willing for you to come around and check it out. They're very open to that. And like Tom said, they're also very generous. We've seen things where they've had, like, for other pet owners, treats that you could pick up at their locations as well. It's just a very fun family feeling when you go there. It really is wonderful, and you wouldn't regret checking that out.
And if you want to go see, like I said, the buses are your ability to get there. You can also, if you're over at Magic Kingdom, they have the boats that are running from Magic Kingdom there. They also have a boat running from the Contemporary and Fort Wilderness Lodge over to Fort Wilderness too. So if you're any of those locations, you could take a boat over, and there you're actually even closer to where a lot of these campsites are. You can hop another bus if you want to and get to the loop you're looking for, but you can even walk from there. And then if you want to get to where they're doing the movies under the stars or the campfire sing along, then you just take a bus over to the meadows and get off there. And then they have, you can just, if you don't see the signs for where they lead you to where to go, just ask. They'll direct you exactly where you need to go to experience all that fun as well. And we could not sell it enough. It is such a good time any time of year, but especially during the various different holidays out at Fort Wilderness Resort and Campgrounds.
Exactly. Now, as they get really close to the Halloween official days, so that the last week, generally the last week of October, keep in mind that because people know how exciting it is to see all these campgrounds, it does attract a lot of people.
Mhm.
And they do have an official parade that Disney really helps coordinate for people who have their golf carts all decked out. And for those evenings, it is tougher to get over there. If you have a hoop-de-doo reservation, obviously you can
Mhm.
do that and then be able to park there as well.
You
So
can
that
also have a mobile order to Trails End. A lot of times that'll get you in
right.
if you could
But
show that you actually have a
right.
mobile order.
Yes, but just keep in mind that that last week of October might be tough sometimes to access Fort Wilderness, because also Disney does do trick-or-treating events
Mhm.
there as well, and they really want to keep that for the people who are staying on that location. So just keep that in mind, that the last few days of October may be tougher without an actual reservation or
Mhm.
staying on property. So.
Yeah. No, they're good. But yeah, if you take the opportunity, and again, we're talking Halloween today, but also this extends into the next season
Mhm.
as we start getting into the other holiday season, the festive wintertime holiday season for
Right.
sure. And we've
Right.
talked about that numerously on this show. So you know how much we love it. And we will
Exactly.
be visiting there as well coming up here in a few months' time. But that's later. Let's get back to Halloween. Now, we mentioned, maybe you can't because there's a party going on and you didn't get the party ticket. Maybe you're not going to get your chance to see those Magic Kingdom fireworks. Well, the good news is that you don't need to be in the park to watch those fireworks. Maybe you don't get all the projections, but you can still check them out. And one of the places is Fort Wilderness. They have spots right by the beach there. I mean, there is the construction going on for the new Lakeshore Lodge over there. Cuts off some of the beach, but there
Right.
is still good area there for you to watch the fireworks from there. Even closer to there, we highly recommend you going to the beach at the Poly. The Polynesian Beach area is great for seeing fireworks. They pipe in the music and
Right.
everything as they do at Fort Wilderness's
Mhm.
beach. And even in front of the new island tower at the Poly is really, really good. There's great views there
Sure.
as well. And a lot of fewer people kind of know it.
Right.
So you may have lesser crowds there. At least it used to be. I don't know if people are finally discovering that,
Right.
but you may want to check that out. Also over, and that goes also for the Grand Floridian Resort. They have some great spots there to check it out. So you might want to visit there.
Sure.
Of course, the Contemporary, if you want to possibly get a touch of the projections and also get some really, really good firework viewing, then you want to go to the Contemporary Resort. They have that 4th floor viewing area where you can get off the monorail there and you could just walk on outside. And there's that area there. There's the bridge over that you might be able to find a good spot on the bridge that goes between the Contemporary and Bay Lake Towers. There's some good viewing spots there. And of course, if you want to splurge on either, something at California Grill, you can get some great viewing from up there on the top deck. Or if you're a DVC member staying on DVC property, you could always go to Top of the World
Right.
Lounge, Villains Lair at the Bay Lake Towers, and you get some great viewing up there as well. But all those spots are amazing areas to catch some of these spooky season fireworks and
Right.
not necessarily be in the park.
Exactly. And I just love how the music, really is so different, and the experience, even like you said, even without the projections, which we have done. We have watched that show without the projections as well, and really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah,
So.
so much so, especially since if you've been there and you've seen it multiple times, you know it.
Mhm.
And so when you break away from it, and this goes for any of the nighttime spectaculars. Yes, we're talking mostly about the spooky season one, but any of them, happily ever after. It still hits.
Right.
And a lot of times, depending on where you are, you can still see Tink fly and those tears still flow
Exactly.
when that happens. So
Exactly.
you'll definitely want to check that out if you have your opportunity. But maybe that's all done, but you're not quite ready to call it a night yet. Well, there's another great spot for both late night and daytime, by the way.
True.
Halloween Magic. That is going, as we already talked about a little bit, to Disney Springs, of course. Or if you're in Disneyland, downtown Disney, there are locations where you can frequently find, sometimes there's some bands playing, some entertainers, tricks around. There's a lot of the great foods and treats that you can find are also be found at downtown Disney, Disney Springs, both savory and sweet. Lots of great photo opportunities. Those are places, again, you can just park. I mean, at downtown Disney, you do have to pay to park unless you're going to, ride share in or have somebody drop you off or whatever. But I mean, it's far less than the price of a ticket to park there. At Disney Springs, it doesn't cost you anything to park there, and you can still get all that great Halloween fun experience in an amazing Disney space.
Right. And I think downtown Disney might do some parking validation if you're eating at one of their restaurants.
Yes.
I believe so. At least they used to have that, but you could check that out online.
Yeah. So you'll get a certain amount of hours if you are actually dining at one of their restaurants.
Right.
Always, if you're dining there, ask, do you validate for parking?
Right.
You may still have to pay for parking when it's all said and done, but it's always good to check.
Right.
For sure. But yeah, speaking of the food, there are lots of wonderful, tasty treats that are available for you there at these spots too. So yeah, you're going to want to take advantage of it. I mean, look at that, Dr. Facilier. Is that a cake?
It is a cake.
Wow,
yes.
Look at that thing.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
That is great. I love the way the plate makes it look like a full-blown hat.
Right.
Really,
exactly.
really good. And then, that stuff over at, what's that, Ballast Point there?
Yeah.
I mean,
a
little bit
bone.
a little bone marrow, a little bit charcuterie, along with a good tasty Ballast Point beer for sure. And what's that? Is that a ghost cake pop?
I think they're, if I recall correctly, those were like little meatballs.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So like I was mentioning, some more savory things as well. So yeah, both sweet and savory things that you can try at both of these spots as well. Right, Michelle?
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, this is just a sprinkling of what they have there. And that's why I can't remember for sure what that issue was, but they do have a lot of savory treats that you can enjoy at both Disney Springs and downtown Disney. Just check out, again, Disney Parks blog, their foodie guide gives that information of even at those locations as well. And it's just so creative. And year after year, they really lean into the Halloween season and try to get some special foods that will make that feel super spooky.
All this stuff is the stuff that makes the super spooky. And again, you do not need the party ticket to do so. You can enjoy the little details, the pumpkins, the music, the treats. Man, I'm hungry. I'm really, really hungry now. We have to wrap. I'm glad we don't have a lot of Disney stories of the week this week, because I'm ready to wrap this up and get some food in me.
Exactly.
But all that stuff, it adds up to that Halloween atmosphere, that spooky season atmosphere that you want. And of course, there's more that we didn't cover. There's so many things that were going on here that may, involve you and get you into that Halloween time feeling. But, mostly I hope you've seen, and you hope that we've kind of shown you some ways that maybe you don't necessarily need that party ticket to enjoy good, fun Halloween time at the Disney resorts. The spirit of the season, it's everywhere. It's all around you, and it's laughing. And meanwhile, for some of these things, your pocketbook looks a little less frightening while you're doing it. So, it's all around you. You just need to soak in that atmosphere, right, Michelle?
Exactly. Just, let yourself take the moments to enjoy it, to notice things and really feel a part of it. And you can have a spectacular time.
So that is our look at spooky season fun without the financial fright.